Good evening. Many thanks for joining us live on QTV. You are watching QTV News and I am Ajibintu Drame. In tonight's top stories. The Gambia Press Union has met with various stakeholders to discuss AU guidelines on access to information and elections. As we look at the role of police in the community, the mayor of Kanifing presides over the decoration ceremony for newly promoted police officers. We hear how the Girls' Agenda commemorated the 25th Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, the visionary agenda for achieving gender equality. We have two stories on child protection, including a two-day forum. We brought together parliamentarians, governments, officials, and other child protection stakeholders. In sports news, in football, Gambia's under-17 coach has conducted a one-day training session with the Q City Football Academy players. Well, those were our top stories for tonight. Do stay tuned for the news in detail. Now, the Gambia Press Union has met with CSOs, media, government and private sector groups as part of a project called Access to Information and Elections in Africa, jointly implemented in 3 African countries. The objective is to discuss AU guidelines on access to information and election. Modulami Choi reports.
In a democracy, access to information is synonymous with transparency and accountability. And as the Gambia's electoral cycle gets into high gear, the subject is dominating campaigns by the Gambia Press Union. At this meeting, the Minister of Information, Ibrahim Silla, gave reassurances of government's commitment to access to information for a meaningful democracy.
Let me assure you that what we have started in 2017, that is the access to information processes will still continue. Because we know and we believe firmly that democracy cannot be enriched without access to information. And governance in itself will be extremely difficult when citizens lack the crucial information necessary for them to make informed choices.
The Gambia is on a journey towards legislating citizens' right to request and access critical information from public bodies. In June last year, an access to information bill was passed through the committee review stage with a report that was adopted by the National Assembly. It is hoped that the bill will soon be passed into law. In solidarity with the Gambia Press Union on access to information, Salamanjai, the country coordinator for West Africa Network for Peace Building, has delivered remarks on behalf of coalition of civil society organizations on elections. The ONEP country coordinator urges proactive disclosure of information for public confidence and credible elections free from tensions.
Access to information empowers the electorate to make well-informed choices and also enhance transparency and accountability during elections.
At this event, the Press Union is engaging election participants to get them to champion proactive disclosure of election-related information in their respective sectors for a transparent and credible election. Proactive disclosure of election-related information will give the public an opportunity to access information without having to request it. The GPU believes this is something that should be ensured by all stakeholders in the electoral process.
We expect that civil society organizations, if they are appointed or accredited to observe the election, they should be able to proactively disclose who is heading their teams, who is funding their operations and those kind of stuff. We also expect law enforcement agencies that will be directly involved in the elections to proactively disclose issues about their pre-deployment training and plan, and also a code of conduct, whether for the police, for the army, or even the NIA, because they have a joint command operations during elections.
This project by the Gambia Press Union in collaboration with the Africa Information Center is being implemented in 3 countries, including in Zambia and Uganda. As our country heads to the presidential polls, stakeholders in this process must be guided by the fact that elections without free access to information are a democratic exercise without a positive direction. Mahmoud Lamin Choi, QTV News.
The mayor of Kanifing Municipal Council Thursday presided over the decoration ceremony for municipal police officers recently promoted to various ranks. In this report by QTV's Ansumana Isonyasi, we hear about the role of the municipal police and how they help strengthen council's community policing endeavors.
Numbering 34, promoted to various ranks in a colorful ceremony attended by representatives of various service chiefs, government officials, amongst a host of other dignitaries. These officers are being rewarded for their dedication to duty. They may seem like a regular national police force, but the municipal police do more than just policing. First established as a security unit for what was then the Kanifing Urban District Council, until this traditional municipal enforcement agency was created by an act of parliament in 1990 and approved by then head of state, Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara. Following enactment of the Local Government Act in 2002, they were given the mandate to arrest with or without a warrant. Eventually, the unit was turned into a department carrying out various functions for council besides policing. These duties include the collection of taxes and securing council properties. However, in June 2016, municipal police were disbanded by the previous government, leaving many of these officers who council officials describe as the backbone of council's revenue growth unemployed. However, with the change of regime, the force was rejuvenated, and under the leadership of Mayor Talib Bensouda, the municipal police in KMC are fast regaining their past glory, and once again emerging as a force to be reckoned with. Mayor Bensouda and KMC CEO, Senabu Martin Sonko, says since they assumed office, they have invested heavily in the police in recognition of the important role they play in the council's economic and infrastructural advancement.
The municipal police force is necessary for the effective implementation of council bylaws, including active participation in the country's judicial system. Enforcing the council's bylaws promotes orderliness and neighborliness in the municipality by prohibiting road obstructions, banning of littering, among other infractions.
Since I assumed the office of the Chief Executive Officer some 15 months ago, staff motivation has been the cornerstone of my reform agenda for the council. I fervently believe that a well-motivated staff is the most loyal and dependable staff to help achieve institutional goals.
Malamin Sise, Commissioner of the Kanifing Municipal Police, and Superintendent Samba Sedi both underscored the significance of Thursday's event, saying it clearly shows council's commitment to responding to their needs and transforming the force into a modern, well-structured outfit.
The Lord Mayor and the team continues to impress unprecedented rate of institutional and infrastructural development that have never taken place in the history of the municipality, gentlemen. The police as a department will ever remain resolute in supporting you all along the way.
First of its kind, Municipal Police have 3 new vehicles at their disposal. Again, you have set another record by importing or chartering our ready-made uniforms all the way outside the Gambia, which have never happened.
The decorated officers are 3 superintendents, 2 assistant superintendents, 3 chief inspectors, 8 inspectors, 4 sub-inspectors, and 14 sergeants. Ansumana Isonyasi for QTV News.
In other news, the Girls' Agenda on Thursday commemorated the 25th Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, the visionary agenda for achieving gender equality at the Law Faculty Auditorium at the University of the Gambia. Yahya Jawo attended the event and filed in this report.
Agenda is a young women-led organization that works on women and girls' rights in the Gambia. The intergenerational dialogue created a platform for feminist leaders to discuss the country's progress in the achievement of the Beijing Plus 25 Declaration and Platform for Action, its challenges and the way forward. This event was supposed to be celebrated last year, but was postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. At the event, Bintu Gassama, the board chairperson of the Girls' Agenda, said women play a great role in development, especially in the political system of the country, and they should be fully involved in the development process to achieve sustainable development goals.
The fact is that we will not be able to achieve the sustainable development goals without investing in women. When we talk about the Beijing Platform for Action, that is where we derive the sustainable development goal, even the Millennium Development Goals. All the targets, all the objectives are from the 12 critical areas of concern of the Beijing Platform for Action. So without investing in women, it will be very difficult for us to achieve these goals.
Fanta Jata Sow, the head of programs and policy at Action Aid the Gambia and a member of the Women Council, highlighted the challenges that women face in the health sector, especially as shown by the country's maternal mortality rate, and called on the government to address these problems.
That it is an area that government need to invest. We have seen from the recently concluded or validated DHS, Demographic Health Survey, that the MMR, which is the maternal mortality rate, is at 289 deaths per 100,000 life birth. This is still unacceptable. It's not something that we can go to sleep with.
The head of solutions mapping at UNDP the Gambia, Abdoulaye Kurang, said women and girls are vulnerable in society and thus need to be given special attention and be elevated from the numerous obstacles that affect their progress.
It also highlights that the Gambia wants to achieve a society whereby women's rights are respected and promoted. But how do we make sure that this reflects into action? Because still, when you go to the remotest parts of Gambia, you realize that women are considerably challenged when it comes to accessing education, when it comes to accessing good health care, when it comes to accessing even clean drinking water. So all of these are challenges.
Aissatou Sadio, a participant, pointed out the lack of proper implementation of laws regarding violence against women and girls.
The messages, again, people are not getting it clearly, I will say it, because if people are getting the messages clearly, the actions should have been taken, and especially at the level of government, because if you have laws that are there to avoid women, to protect women, but what if those laws are sleeping laws, then obviously perpetrators will have more power to commit more and more crime against women.
Even though the COVID-19 pandemic has overshadowed some of the commemoration flagships, events and outcomes, the Beijing agenda remains a universal blueprint for humanity, which is guided by the vision of a more gender-equal world. Reporting for QTV News, I am Yahya Jao.
We'll go with a short commercial break. Still to come, we have more local stories and sports news follows. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. If you just tune in, this is QTV News. Now, the Gambia PAPEV project, in collaboration with Child Protection Alliance, on Friday concluded a two-day forum with parliamentarians, government and other child protection stakeholders to discuss a report on the legislative framework on protecting children. Omar P. Jallo was at the closing, and this is his report.
The support project for the protection of children victims of violations of their rights started operations in the Gambia in September 2019. The project seeks to support ECOWAS and the governments of the Gambia, Senegal, Mali, Guinea-Conakry, Guinea-Bissau and Niger to strengthen their child protection systems and ensure greater protection of children. The national coordinator of the project, Marinjai Adams, said the forum seeks to engage the members of the Select Committee on Women, Children, Disaster, Humanitarian Reliefs and Refugees, and other child protection actors on the findings of the assessment and develop a roadmap to support and strengthen parliamentarians' oversight functions to examine government performance on children.
The Gambia's legal system is aligned to the extent possible with international and regional instruments, but enforcing the implementation of these laws is a major hurdle. And we are happy that having the National Assembly's members on the Select Committee for Children, one of the key recommendations that they made was that they are quite open for engagement, because much of the issues that have been raised, some of them they know, but some of them they were not, quite open to them.
The chairperson of this Select Committee, Usman Silla, said there remains gaps and challenges in child protections in the Gambia. He gave assurances of his committee's commitment to lobbying for a budget increment for children protection institutions to address some of the challenges.
We have taken note of the challenges that they've shared with us. We know that the challenges are numerous. They deal with the laws, there are inadequacies with the laws, but there are some provisions that exist that if they implement it, it will really go a long way. There are also challenges in terms of operations, resource constraints is a challenge that most of them have been, highlighting, and this deals with budgetary allocations and timely access to resources, allocations, inadequate allocations. So these are all challenges that have been highlighted, which we have taken note of as a committee. We told them that during the course of the 2 days, we have heard their concerns, the challenges that they have identified, and for us, we came purposely to listen to them. Not so much as to, be telling them what to do, but to listen to them, to know what we are supposed to do.
The Regional Gender and Child Protection Officer of KM Region, Superintendent Jeneba Bahum, said the Child Protection Unit of the police faces serious resource constraints, thereby affecting their operations.
We have a lot of challenges. We have a lot of constraints as child welfare officers, because I can tell you that all our stations are not child-friendly, because every day you have children in conflict with the law. Children should not be detained together with elders. Children who are victims, they need somewhere, a safe haven. We don't have it. The shelter is too small. All our stations are not child-friendly. We have constraints of mobility.
The project is funded by the Italian Agency for Development Cooperation through the Office of the United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights to support and strengthen reception services for children victims of human rights violations. Reporting for KTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
The Child Protection Alliance on Thursday began a 3-day training course on child protection and women's rights issues for members of the Guild of Social Affairs Reporters from 15 media houses across the country. Abibatu Sise reports.
The media plays a significant role in reporting issues related to women and children. The training focused, among other things, on building the capacity of reporters to better guide them on how to responsibly report on women and children's issues without biases based on sex, religion, education background, or physical abilities. At the event, the National Coordinator of the Child Protection Alliance, Lamin Fati, says the training is important as it will strengthen media engagement towards the protection of women and children in the Gambia.
Reporters, or we call them the Guild of Social Reporters, is so totally geared towards how do we strengthen the media in terms of its engagement when it comes to dealing with issues of women and children. Without doubt, we will attest to the fact that of recent years, we have seen the media developing some quite interest around the issue of reporting on issues of women and children. But most often what we see is the negative side. We always have seen children and women being portrayed as the victim of circumstances or how society victimizes women.
Ibrahim Silla, the Minister of Information, underscores the importance of the training for journalists and gives a reassurance of the government's support for creating a safe environment for women and children, and highlights his ministry's effort in doing this.
At the policy level, our ministry is currently reviewing the Information and Communication Act of 2009 to look at child pornography issues in a more robust manner, to look at abuses on the internet targeting young people, to look at bullying, using ICTs, and a whole other things that will ensure safer environment for young people to realize their potentials in this country.
The Speaker of the Children National Assembly, Sarata Sise, calls for women and children's right to be given utmost priority.
Many a times, news reports or stories about women and children in the Gambia are either on abuse, neglect, or other negative issues. You need to move beyond that because there are a lot of positive stories about women and children across the country that the Gambia and the rest of the world should know about. I hope you will give priorities to those stories.
Ajibintu Drame, a participant, has this to say.
This training will also help us to shift from the negative perception on women, most especially children, because there are other stories, which will concentrate more on hero stories on children, on the positive side in the country in order to change that negative perception of women and children in the country.
The role of Child Protection Alliance, the Gambia, is to raise awareness of the issues of child abuse and child protection, advocate for children's rights, and encourage children's participation in identifying their problems and solutions. Child Protection Alliance is closely working with the Ministry of Gender and Social Affairs, Child Fund the Gambia, UNICEF, the Gambia Press Union, and the National Youth Council. For QTV News, I am Abibatu Sise.
Eco-Friends Gambia, an environmental volunteering NGO, has commemorated World Environment Day in the LRR with the theme Ecosystem Restoration. Our regional correspondent Al Hassan Ba reports from Soma.
The event was organized in Jara Soma, attended by local authorities, school children and members of the civil society. The aim is to sensitize and educate communities on environmental restoration and sustainability. At the event, Salif Jete, the program manager of Eco-Friends Gambia, explains what the theme means for this year's celebration.
The theme of this year is ecosystem restoration. That's why we went to the school yesterday to help the school to plant some trees, but also to make sure that those trees are well preserved, because it's quite important that we promote sustainability. But also we will be embarking in the afternoon on tree planting at Sankuya Forest Community. Because when you look at the theme that Eco-Friends has adopted, it's all about investing in our ecosystem, is investing in our future. So meaning that we have to promote what we call ecosystem-based adaptation when we want to adapt to climate change.
Yaya Sane, the Executive Director of Eco-Friends Gambia, explained the threat posed by climate change.
According to the serious projection and as reliable as those of the IUNC, 34,000 planet species and 50 animal species, including 1/8 of birds, will be confronted with threats in the world today. In addition, the Millennium Ecosystem Assessment shows that approximately 35% of mangroves are disappeared during the past 2 decades in the world.
Landimbi Sane, the chairperson of Mansonko Area Council, said it is important to preserve the environment for the next generation.
Of course, we all have a stake in issues around environment because we all live within the environment.
As part of the commemoration, Eco-Friends Gambia also embarked on tree planting at Jiffin Lower Basic School, cleaning exercise at the summer market, and community sensitization in Sankuya to encourage community-led innovations to combat climate change. Reporting for QTV News, I am Al Hassan Ba.
Now on to sports news. Q City Football Academy was boosted on Friday with a special day-long training session supervised by the Gambia's under-17 coach. The sessions are aimed at developing the talents inherent in players. Our sports reporter Momodu Gajaga watched and he now reports.
Various training drills ranging from possession, ball control, spacing, tactics and finishing were the focus. These players are organized in small groups, giving instructions on training programs to execute to achieve desired results. Gambia under-17 coach Abdullah Bojang, who conducted the training, explains.
Personally, what I always tell the strikers, you need not to dribble the defenders to score. If you have chance, you just take it. And I can see that. That's why I restricted the defenders to be behind the goal. So looking at the intelligence of the players, they don't even wait for the defenders to come and dribble. When they control, if they have the chance, they shoot.
As part of the training, goalkeepers of the academy underwent various sessions to improve their match sharpness, grip of the ball, side movements and ability to save close-range shots. These players are at the developmental stage of their game. Matar Mboj, coach of the Gambia Under-20 team, watching the training, says their training can improve the performance of the players.
It's very heartening and very encouraging for us to see something like this here in our own country. And to be honest, this is what we need. You know, when you're working in the national teams, you want to see players who have some of the basics that the kids are learning here today. You know, when they get to our level, it's difficult as a coach. You don't have so much time to spend doing some of these drills that they're doing now. So at least if they've done it when they were younger, they will have that in them, that technical ability.
In giving an assessment of the training sessions, Ahmad Cham, coach of the QCT Academy, praised the program, saying that the training can raise the players' awareness of the game as they continue their development.
Yeah, it was a very good session. The players were in a position to catch up at some level. From the start, they had certain issues difficult, but gradually they got used to it and they were in a position to end up in a high, and I think they did very well.
One of the players who benefited from the special training is Modulamin Gassama. He said he has learned a lot during the various sessions.
The train was awesome. Words can't describe how the train was. I really enjoyed a lot. And this is not the first time training with him. He is just marvelous. He's a star, yeah.
Almami Jawara, a parent, says the QCT Football Academy is an impressive project that could enhance football development in this country.
I'm very, very impressed with the setup and the caliber of people that I met here as far as the Gambian sport leadership is concerned. And I think this will remain in the kids' mind because these are the top guns.
Players younger than 18 years often go through a football development process which will nurture them to become better footballers, given the right circumstances. They appear to be getting exactly that with the coaches, managers and investment in the academy. All told, the future looks bright for the QCT Football School and Academy. Mamudu Kajaga, QTV News.
Well, that's it from me in tonight's edition of the news. Thank you for your company and have a good evening.